Hi, this is Daniel from Raunow Consulting. Today I'm going to show you a very simple method to automate the starting and stopping of your virtual machines on Azure. If you've used virtual machines on Azure, you may have noticed that they actually have a built-in automatic stop functionality, but they don't have a built-in functionality to actually start them back up again. So I'm going to show you how to very easily do that with an Azure automation account. This is of course very useful because if you have VMs that are only necessary under certain time frames or certain hours, you can greatly reduce on your costs by implementing a automatic start and shutdown sequence, and you'll see that it's actually very easy to do. So to start off, I'm going to show you that I do have a VM set up here. It's currently stopped, and I also have an automation account set up. This is very easy to, I won't go through it, this is very easy to set up. It doesn't require a lot of configuration. First thing I want to point out is the automation account's identity. Usually when you configure this, it should automatically be on. So we have a system assigned managed identity. And first thing we need to do is actually give that managed identity a contributor role to our virtual machine so that it can actually start it and stop it. Now if going here to adding role assignment, we should look for virtual machine contributor. You can see here that this will allow us to manage the virtual machine but not access it. So this is the role that we're looking for, and we can select manage identity, and we should find our automation account here. Select. We can review and assign, and our role assignment has been added. Now if we check the role assignments on our automation account, yes, we have virtual machine contributor. Okay, sorry about that. So in case you don't know, the way automation accounts run is actually through runbooks. You can create multiple runbooks. You can even set them as part of jobs. We're going to need to create only 2 runbooks here, one for starting the virtual machine and one for stopping it. First off, let's ignore that we have a test runbook there. And let's do start VM runbook. Very important here, we're going to use PowerShell, and also the runtime version is going to be 5.1. Can just create that. I will actually, and before we actually start editing it, I want to show you why we chose a 5.1 runtime. You can see here under the automation account blade, if we go to the modules, this is of course where you can add modules to your automation account. It comes with a lot of pre-installed Azure modules, and we're going to look for compute, which is AZ compute, and you can see here the runtime version 5.1. This is why our runbooks are going to actually use that runtime version. And I'm looking for compute because if you check the documentation, we're going to use start AZVM and stop AZVM. You can see that both of these are part of the compute module. Okay, so if we go back to our runbook, can edit it, and we'll just add a very simple code here. This is the code that we're going to be using. First of all, we have to tell the automation account to use its managed identity to connect to the Azure account. Then we're also going to set the context for a specific subscription. I'm doing this because on our tenant we have multiple subscriptions Technically, if you only have one subscription, this shouldn't be necessary. And then we're just going to use start ACVM. It's a very simple command. Just provide the resource group name and the name. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I'm going to save. And just to make sure that everything is okay, we're also going to run a test. Now we're just going to give this test a minute, and we're going to get back once it's done. And we're back. Our test was completed. It seems to have been successful. If we go back to our virtual machine and check the overview, maybe refresh. And now you can see our virtual machine is running. So we can get back to editing. We will have to publish this run book. That was successful. And now we're going to do the same thing and create another run book for actually stopping the VM. Also PowerShell, also 5.1. And now the code for stopping, basically the same, only a little bit different. Just going to paste it here. You can see that for stop AZVM, I also have an extra parameter of force. This is because whenever you run this command by default, it's going to prompt you for a confirmation on whether you actually do want to stop it. If we input this force parameter, we will just skip the confirmation and go ahead and stop the VM. We can save this, and just to make sure, we will run another test. And we'll get back once this test is completed. We're back and our test is completed. Now, if we check our VM again, we should see that it is now stopped. So everything works as intended. We can go back to editing. Remember to publish. I'll show you in a moment why that's important. And now if we go back to our automation account, now we will need to define our schedules. So we can add a schedule. We'll call this start VM schedule. We can say that will start from tomorrow, and let's go with normal working hours. We'll start at 8, recurring week. We'll only do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We can set an expiration date, but we won't do that right now. And we can add another schedule to stop. Also start from tomorrow. And we're going to go with the classical 5 o'clock. And also just for the weekdays, can create. And now we go back to our run books. And for our start run book, we go to schedules. And we will link to an existing schedule, namely the start VM schedule. And for our stop run book, we're going to just do the same. Link the stop schedule. And there you have it. And now our automation account is all set up. So my virtual machine is going to start tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and then it's going to stop at 5 and keep going on like that until the end of time. So that's it. You can see it's a very easy thing to implement. One more thing I would like to mention before I leave you. On the Azure Marketplace, there is something called Start-Stop VMs. This is an open source project, so you can just go ahead and use it. It's an MIT license, so you should be able to modify it to suit it to your needs. This is something, it's, as you can see, version 2. Version 1 used to be based on an automation account. Now version 2 is actually using Azure Functions and a couple of other stuff. This is very useful if you have a more complicated setup and you need a lot more flexibility. You can check out this documentation to see exactly what kind of options it offers. This can basically do the exact same thing that I just showed you, but also a lot of other cool things. So bear that in mind if maybe you have need of a more complicated solution. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll see you on the next video.